Margavan and Melanin. Today I am taking it easy on the couch here, and I just wanted to go through some of my thoughts on the universal beauty myth. There's two types of thoughts when it comes to beauty. There are those that see beauty through mathematics and symmetry, and there is that part of the Enlightenment era that started to bring that idea, the golden ratio, and we're seeing it come into society once again. I don't know if you have noticed, but on YouTube there are even some channels that kind of dedicate themselves to kind of showing the mathematics of the way that human beauty is basically ascribed to, and that mathematics plays a big role in the attractiveness of someone. And, as an intuitive and somebody that really sees the world through more of a spiritual lens, I see beauty differently. And I'm not alone in that. I think that there are many others that do as well. My concern about these channels that pop up and talk about beauty being on a mathematical level and through the idea of symmetry and trying to show how certain actresses or actors are regarded as having universal beauty versus those who don't. My problem with that is that it's not entirely true. It's one of those concepts that exist in kind of this abstract way of thinking about mathematics and the way that people would be attracted to certain types of faces and see symmetry in that way. But there is this underlying truth that beauty has far more to it than just our physical attraction. It's about feeling comfortable and familiar with something, having something mean a lot to us. One of the things that I have noticed on these channels that talk about the symmetry of beauty in faces is that they don't take into consideration that different cultures around the world consider different things beautiful. And so it's not quite true to say that there is a universal beauty, because you can go to one culture and think that something is beautiful, but bring it to another and you will see that it is not considered opposite or something that's kind of undesirable or unwanted in the features. So one of the things that I would like to talk about today is just kind of my perspective of beauty and how I think that Tolkien had seen beauty. And one of the things that has always been very attractive to me as a soul is the way that how Lord of the Rings presents beauty in a different way. That yes, there is this outside appearance of beauty, and you see that within the elven realms, but there's also beauty of the heart and beauty of the spirit. And I made a video similar to this in response to a girl talking about how she was ugly. And I made a video saying, well, that's not true, because I mean, just the courage, the bravery, and kind of the strength of her spirit and the funniness of her personality and the whole aspect of her made her beautiful to those that watched her video, and that's why she became very popular with that. And I think that's a very positive part of society, is that we can see beyond surface appearances. And something that I kind of as an intuitive grasp is that there's a danger in regarding beauty to mathematics and the logic of, symmetry, and regarding it as something desirable to obtain, because humans aren't created that way. We're not created completely symmetrical. There are some actresses and actors, and there are some faces in this world that you can put on a computer program and you can get close to 100% symmetry, but you won't get completely. And I think that that is a reflection of the asymmetrical beauty and kind of the randomness in the universe that is seen as beautiful. That if everything was symmetrical and really placed in that way to our eye, I think it could become quite boring. And I think that there's a type of beauty that exists in asymmetry and in things that are rugged and rough. And we see this in the story Quasimodo. You have a man that has the face that's not symmetrical at all, and that a woman is able to see beyond that and see his true beauty. And I believe that that is really what true beauty is. And what we have right now in society is a little bit of a temptation to really just focus on the surface beauty. And that is kind of dangerous for people, because surface beauty that can be created through mathematics and symmetry of robotics, and if you want to get into that, it can be tempting and seductive, and it could be used as a tool to seduce and entice. And in a lot of ways, that's what our entertainment world is about seduction and enticing. Not all of it, because I believe that there's both dark workers and light workers within the entertainment world. And it's about connecting to your higher self, which tells you what movie are you watching that actually is done by a director that has the best in mind for humanity versus a director that may not, and maybe just out for their own agendas. And so these are my thoughts on the myth behind universal beauty, that no culture holds the key to beauty, and that when you go to one culture to another or one country to another, beauty is seen differently there. And the idea too that in nature that symmetry does exist, in the idea that flower petals are symmetrical in face so that they can take in the sun's rays, but there is also very much strong examples of asymmetry and things that are not perfect and have rugged edges to them, and they just are not completely perfect and symmetrical. And you wouldn't be able to find the beauty mathematically through those examples. And when you take some faces and you actually put it in a program that tries to determine how symmetrical and your amount of beauty you have with that idea in mind, it doesn't account for the other types of beauty that can be found when you look deeper inside of a personality, deeper inside of a person, and what exists there. So surface beauty can be completely created through symmetry and through using mathematics and engaging the golden ratio. That can always entice people at first, and you may be drawn to that appearance of that perfect symmetry and seeing things in that ratio and seeing, eyes the same sizes and the face pretty symmetrical. That could personally entice people, but it can't capture their attention forever. And it can't make them fall in love, and it can't make them see beauty beyond that surface. And so there's a little bit of that idea about seduction, where society, if they keep going that route towards the idea of what's mathematical and seeing beauty in that way, well, then you can have forces that manipulate people based on that, of creating the perfect, beautiful face. So just be careful about that, because as an intuitive, I feel strongly about that. And when I see those YouTube videos pop up about symmetry of faces and analyzing different actors and actresses and trying to understand why they're seen as attractive by most, I have to say, I'm always very surprised with my husband and with his friends, because when we get into a discussion about attractiveness, as a lot of times it happens, you just want to know, what do you find beautiful? It's this kind of nebulous idea that people want to talk about. They want to find out, what does others find beautiful? So a lot of times you'll ask, do you like this actor? Do you think this actress is attractive? And what always astounds me is that you can take one person who finds Megan Fox or Angelina Jolie or Natalie Portman or George Clooney. You can find one person who finds them very attractive, and then you can find others that find them almost hideous, and they have like this repulsed kind of reaction to them, even though to me I wouldn't say any of those are hideous. But it's interesting to see that people can have such different opinions on what is attractive and what is not. And so to me, what's really beautiful to people is a sense of connection, of relatability in the idea. Can that person actually relate to them? Can they see qualities and traits that reflect something that either they wish to have or that they have and they contain inside? So when a person falls for, celebrities and has these crushes on them, it's not so much the surface sometimes, but it's actually in their personality. It's in what they know about them through interviews and through maybe the characters that they portray in movies, which in a lot of ways is an aspect of them, and that's why they're able to reach into that place. And so people fall in love with the qualities of people that are contained within, not so much the mathematics and the symmetry of the outside appearance, but what's in the heart, what's in the mind, and what comes through when a person speaks. And I think that that is something that I just wanted to put out there in just response to a lot of these videos that are popping up about the mathematical logistics on beauty, because no one holds the key to universal beauty. Even if some people may claim to have that, it's not true, because not everybody will find you beautiful, as not everybody will find you ugly. And no one will see the same thing when they look at something to judge it as beautiful. Because beauty really truly is in the eye of the beholder. And yes, mathematics and the idea of color, and when we get into the logistics of what music and art mean to us, we can look at it mathematically, but there's also emotional meaning behind each of those pieces that means something different to everybody. And that will be what really deems something beautiful. Things can be attractive, and you can be immediately attracted to things because your eye can be drawn to it. And I think that's what symmetry does, is it draws your eye to it, because there isn't a lot of symmetry in the natural world and in everyday life. I mean, you see cars and things like that, and the way that they're parked on the street, nothing is completely 100% perfect and exact in measurement. So when you see things that are close to that, it can maybe attract you, it can draw your eye to it. We may be attracted to symmetry. We may be attracted to faces that represent that. But then what actually keeps your attention is what's inside. And I think that that's just something that I wanted to talk about. I wrote down some ideas of what is beauty to me. And then I'll end with a beautiful J.R.R. Tolkien quote. Beauty to me is purity, things uncorruptible because of the strength of their spirit and self-awareness. Genuine and sincere smiles that don't hide hidden agendas. The way the leaves look, like when the sunlight hits them in a dark tree. The asymmetrical designs and fashions, and the natural clean faces that exude warm confidence. Genuine concern for others that I see in people and they demonstrate is really beautiful to me. Seeing humility in people is a beautiful trait. Seeing the sky at night and seeing the stars, which show a great story to being on Earth, is beautiful. Anything that has to do with the fairy realm is beautiful to me. Listening to sounds of rushing or trickling water is beautiful to me. And certain chords and music that I hear that stirs certain emotions is beautiful. So those are the things that I find beautiful in this world, and that I have always been someone that has been attracted to things on a surface because I'm very much attracted to beauty. But if you're going to keep my attention, if you're really going to be something that has lasting beauty and meaning behind it, then there has to be something else that attracts me instead of just the surface. And this is a quote that I'll end with. There are truths that are beyond us, transcendent truths about beauty, truth, honor, etc. There are truths that man knows exist, but they cannot be seen. They are immaterial, but no less real to us. It is only through the language of myth that we can speak of these truths. And I think that's why Lord of the Rings and all of his stories were so widely popular and seen as something beautiful, because they spoke about these unseen truths and beauty that people aspire to and people are attracted to, because it has a lot to do with the actual higher consciousness and the soul within, versus just the surface appearance of beauty, which is what he demonstrated in his quote about all that is gold does not glitter. So you have to always look behind and beyond the surface appeal of beauty and really look at what really beauty is. And beauty is one of those things that's really truly subjective, because it has to do with your personal feelings and experiences and the way that you look at the world and what you find beautiful. I have a theory that the things that you find beautiful really define you. They define who you are as a person. Because if you find things that are beautiful only on the surface level, and you're attracted to constant surface beauty, and you don't look beyond, that is saying something about you, that you're afraid to look beyond the surface of you and to see truly what's inside of you. So just keep that in mind. I know that as we head into the future, we might end up going more into that direction where people are trying to discover the most creative and imagined beauty that they can create surgically or through genetics. And just keep in mind that beauty is not going to come from manipulation of genetics. It's not going to come from a building of cyborgs and robots that have beautiful features. It's going to always come from the heart and what's special to us and meaningful to us as each of us look at the object that we're observing. It truly is in the eye of the beholder. And I guess I just wanted to be a reminder of that today. So, Hen and Lei for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.